Hello, in this Coolgrad video, we're going to talk about studying in the state of Rhode Island in the United States. Rhode Island is a small little state in the east coast of the United States, and it has a couple of really good universities. And we're going to talk about the weather conditions, the airports, the cost of living, and the Indian restaurants, and all these interesting things about Rhode Island. So this is the map of America, and Rhode Island is located here. You see this tiny red dot over here? That's the state of Rhode Island. And it's in the Eastern time zone. And the states bordering Rhode Island are... So we have Rhode Island here, and we have in the north we have Massachusetts. And in the west we have Connecticut. And towards the east and the south we have the Pacific Ocean. Sorry, it's not the Pacific Ocean, but really it's the Atlantic Ocean. I'm sorry, there's a mistake. So this is the state of Rhode Island, and the capital of Rhode Island is Providence. And it's very close to the Atlantic Ocean over here. And it has mostly hot and humid weather, and in the winters it snows a lot. So, the weather in Rhode Island. Rhode Island's climate is humid, and temperature and it experiences the full extent of all the four seasons. So there's a beautiful spring season, and there's summer, and the fall colors, and winter. They don't really have a measurable dry or rainy season, but rainfalls are spread evenly through the course of the year. Rhode Island experiences its warmest weather from April until October. And it has heavy snowfall in the winters. It's almost like being in New York, so you have to have snow boots and gloves and all this warm clothes, and you have to prepare yourself for the winters. There's going to be at least 2 feet of snow and ice all over, and sometimes blizzards. And Rhode Island was also affected by the Hurricane Sandy to some extent, and so the winters can be really, really cold, freezing below zero. History of Rhode Island. Rhode Island, measuring only about 48 miles long and 37 miles wide, is the smallest of the United States, of all the states in the US. Despite its small area, Rhode Island, known as the Ocean State, boasts over 400 miles of coastline. Now that's nice, a lot of beaches out there. Rhode Island was founded by Roger Williams in 1636, and he had been banished from the Massachusetts colony for his advocacy of religious tolerance and the separation of church and state. So some of the important cities in Rhode Island are Providence, Newport, Warwick, and there's also Kingston, where the University of Rhode Island is located. So Providence, the size is about 26 square miles or 53 square kilometers. Population is about 180,000 as of 2016. So if you think about it, it's a really small state. Providence is the capital and the most populous city in Rhode Island. So, once nicknamed the Beehive of Industry, Providence began rebranding itself as the creative capital in 2009 to emphasize its educational resources and arts community. It's a hub for the jewelry and silverware industry. So, Newport. Newport is only 11.4 square miles, about 29.5 square kilometers in size. Population, about 24,700 as of 2016. So it's just about 25,000 people in the city. And Newport is a seaside city and is famous for being a New England summer resort. It's home to the South Regina University and Naval Station. Newport, which houses the United States Naval War College, the Naval Undersea Warfare Center, and has a major United States Navy training center. So if you're joining the US Navy, you'd probably be there somehow associated with this place for naval training and stuff. So there's a very big presence of the US Navy and training centers in Newport. Warwick, size is 49.6 square miles or 128 square kilometers. Population about 82,600 as of the year 2016. Warwick is the second largest city of the state other than Providence, and is also home to Rhode Island's main airport. So, it's the home of the 43rd Military Police Brigade of the Rhode Island Army National Guard. Airports in Rhode Island. So there's Theodore Francis Green State Airport in Providence. It's called PVD for Providence. And there's Westerly State Airport, WST, Black Island State Airport, BID, Newport Airport, NPT. So if you're flying in from India, for example, you could probably fly to like JFK, New York, and then fly to Rhode Island. And I'm sure there's also an international airport here, but it may not have as many connecting flights as the nearest hub. So there's airports in New Jersey and New York, and those are like usually the points, from where people, take connecting flights to Rhode Island. So, but it might also be possible to fly to Rhode Island directly via some international flights. So, but it might be much less expensive to fly to like New York, John F. Kennedy Airport, and then fly to Rhode Island or drive there. Top universities in Rhode Island. So there's Brown University and the University of Rhode Island. So Brown University is one of the Ivy League universities, and it's really, really prestigious, very popular. So Tier 2 universities in Rhode Island. There's Roger Williams University, Bryant University, New England Institute of Technology, Lincoln Technical Institute, Providence College, Rhode Island College, Johnson & Wales University. These are some of the Tier 2 universities. Brown University. So this is the logo of Brown University, and it's an Ivy League university. So, this is just about 8 Ivy League universities in the United States, and these are all private universities which are very, very prestigious, and they usually, they had a league of athletics, people who would perform together in sports, so that's how they came to be called the Ivy League institutions. And, it includes like Cornell and Princeton, and, there's Yale and Brown and former universities. So they're all mostly on the East Coast, and they're very prestigious. So Brown is an Ivy League university, very difficult to get admission into. So Brown University, so this is what it kind of looks like. And so Brown University, located in Providence, Rhode Island, is one of America's 8 famous Ivy League colleges. Over the years, Brown University has produced some of the world's greatest leaders and entrepreneurs. Brown has produced 7 Nobel Prize winners, 57 Rhodes Scholars, 5 National Humanities Medalists, 8 billionaire graduates, and 10 National Medal of Science laureates, and has also produced Fulbright, Marshall, and Mitchell Scholars. Brown was the first college in the United States to accept students regardless of their religion. So, history of Brown University. Brown University is a private Ivy League research university in Providence, Rhode Island. Founded in 1764 as the college in the English colony of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations. It was founded long back in 1764. And then Brown's vibrant, diverse community consists of about 6,200 undergraduates, about 2,000 graduate students, 500 medical students, and over 5,000 summer visiting and online students, and over 700 faculty members. Brown students come from all 50 states and over 115 countries. Brown is the 7th oldest institution of higher education in the U.S. and one of the 9 colonial colleges established before the American Revolution. Brown University department rankings. So the department, business school is ranked lower than 100 in the United States. Electrical engineering ranked 43rd. Computer science ranked 31. Mechanical engineering 26. Chemical engineering 88. Civil is lower than 100. Law school lower than 100. And medical school is ranked 33rd in the United States. So as you see, some of the departments are ranked quite high. So the business school ranked lower than 100, but this is the building of the business school. So the computer science department ranked around 20th. It varies, every year, say between 20 and 35, you could say. Every year it keeps varying. So teaching computer science began at Brown in 1956 when an IBM machine was installed and computing courses were offered. So this is the computer science department. It's really prestigious. So a lot of times from India, most of the students who get into Brown University may be from like the IITs, which are the premier institutes in India for undergrad, or maybe from the NITs, National Institute of Technology, or from top universities with a really good GPA and a really good GRE score and really good recommendation letters with really good aptitude for research. It's quite difficult to get into Brown University. And I knew one professor at Brown University who would tell me, students would apply to him for projects and research assistantships and, for master's programs, PhD programs, and, for working on his research, and they would say, hey, I'm an IITian, doesn't it speak for itself? And he was like, hey, most of my students are IITians, so that doesn't set you apart. You have to really prove that you have an aptitude for research and that you're really, best of the best. So my point is, don't think you would automatically get admission into MIT or Caltech or even Brown University just because you're from an IIT. You have to build a rapport with the professors and make sure your research interests are aligned with theirs, and it's actually quite difficult to get admission to these universities. So there's the mechanical engineering department, which is also very prestigious. So sometimes it is ranked 14th in the US. It ranks between say 14 to 26. It's ranked really high, and it's very prestigious to get in there. It has out-of-state tuition approximately 45,000 per annum, and starting salary for graduates is about 65,000 per annum. And so this is the mechanical engineering building, and a lot of Brown University mechanical engineering graduates get usually good jobs and recognition, and they're usually well placed. It's quite very, very competitive to get into Brown University. Electrical engineering, ranked 45th in America, has out-of-state tuition of approximately 45,000 per annum, and starting salary for graduates around 62,000 per annum. So this is the electrical engineering building. So it looks like a big building, and it's quite expensive to study here. So the out-of-state tuition is actually quite expensive here. So but it's also quite prestigious, and these rankings vary every year, so there's no fixed number for that, but you can have an approximate idea of what the ranking is like. And then there's the Brown University Chemical Engineering Department. So this is the Chemical Engineering Department, what it looks like, and it's ranked 88th in America. It's not really in the top league, but then out-of-state tuition is approximately 45,000 per annum, and starting salary for graduates around 54,000 per annum. So, and then we have civil engineering, which is ranked lower than 100. So even though the university is an Ivy League university, different departments have different rankings, and the civil engineering, this is the building, and it's not like in the top 100, but for people who grew up there or who want to be in that area, it's still a good place to be in. Brown University Medical School. So this is the medical school. Warren Alpert School of Medicine was established in 1811. It's quite old. Entrepreneur Warren Alpert donated $100 million to Brown University, the fourth most selective medical school in the US, meaning it's really competitive to get in here. Ranked, it's usually ranked between 24 to, 24th for primary care education, 31st for research in the year 2014. So, it ranks either the 20s or the 30s. So, dual degree programs such as MD, PhD, so you get your MD and PhD together, and then there's MD and PH, so Master of Public Health, where you learn to administer hospitals, and MD MPP and MD MPA, so it's kind of like physician assistant training also is available, and there's multiple dual degree programs along with MD, so it's a really good place to study in. It's very competitive to get in there, medical school. So Brown University Law School. So this is the law school building. It's ranked lower than 100 in America, and it's quite expensive, but people do go there. So if they can't make it to the top universities in New York, and they grew up in New York, for example, they would probably want to be around New York in universities like this. Places to visit near Brown University in Providence. So there's a historic Federal Hill. There's a Roger Williams Park, a really huge park, and Rhode Island School of Design, Museum and Art. And of course, there's lots of beaches. There's 400 miles of coastline. In the winters, it may not be very pleasant to be there, but then summers it can be really nice. And you do have some fall colors in the autumn season, so they can also be very colorful and beautiful. Cost of living near Brown University in Providence. Monthly rent as of the year 2016 for a furnished studio accommodation, 900 square feet, it would be approximately $950 to $1,100 per month. Furnished 1-bed, 1-bath apartment would be $1,000 to $1,100 per month. Furnished 2-bath apartment would be $1,200 to $1,300 per month. So, it's it's still not as expensive as California or New York. So, like, in California, I'll be paying for a one-bed, one-bath apartment about $2,300 to $2,500 per month in the Bay Area. So it's still like costs less than half of being in California or New York. So the cost of living is not really high, but it's not as cheap as some other states as well. Like, for example, like say Ohio, Cincinnati, places like that, or maybe like Missouri and Alabama and say Arkansas. Those places are definitely Idaho. Those are Nebraska. Those are still cheaper. One bed, one bath apartment might cost approximately $600, $700 in those places. So it's still not very expensive. It's still like the average cost of living across the United States. So, but if you're coming from India and you want a one bed, one bath apartment for yourself, you've got to be ready to pay at least $1,000 a month. So you have to think about that. Or you have to take a two bed, two bath apartment. So at least you have a room and a bathroom for yourself, and you get a roommate and you share it, and you pay like about $600 per head. So I just want you to have an idea of the cost of living in Rhode Island. Indian restaurants near Brown University. Kebab and Curry, so that's a university over here. Bombay Club, that's one here. Taste of India is over here. So these are some of the Indian restaurants in Providence. So if you're fed up of eating Indian food, it's like, if you can't find time to cook, you can always, and if you want Indian food, these are the Indian restaurants around Brown University. And some of them are actually very close to campus. So when you're a grad student or a PhD student, you won't have much time to cook. So either you have to buy instant food mixes and stuff and manage with that, or sometimes you might want to grab some food and stock it for the next few days. Some famous alumni of Brown University include Emma Watson, who's an actress; John Krasinski, actor; John F. Kennedy Jr., a lawyer; Ted Turner, media mogul; Horace Mann, American politician; John Hay, former United States Secretary of State. So there are a lot of prominent, scholars who graduate from Brown University. So the University of Rhode Island. So this is their logo. Think big, we do. And this is what the building looks like, University of Rhode Island. And the University of Rhode Island is well known for its courses in nursing and engineering, particularly the International Engineering Program. It boasts nationally ranked courses in pharmacy, agriculture, and oceanography. As a whole, it's ranked among the top 200 colleges in the country. So it's definitely not as prestigious as Brown University, but it's still a good university to attend. History of the University of Rhode Island. The university was founded in 1888, so it's quite old, as the state's agricultural school and agricultural experiment station. In 1892, the school became known as the Rhode Island College of Agriculture and Mechanic Arts. In 1909, the school's name was again changed to Rhode Island State College as the school's programs were expanded beyond its original agricultural education mandate. In 1951, the school was given its current title through an act of the General Assembly following the addition of the College of Arts and Sciences and the offering of doctoral degrees. University of Rhode Island department rankings. So business school is ranked about 161, lower than 100 in the US. So most of the departments are ranked lower than 100. MIS is again lower than 100. Electrical engineering 109, so it's still lower than 100. Computer science lower than 100. Civil lower than 100. Mechanical lower than 100. Chemical engineering 104. It's lower than 100. These rankings fluctuate every year, so you never know. Next year it might be like in the 80s or 90s. You never know. So law school lower than 100 and medical school lower than 100. So this is a picture of the B school, business school, and as I said, it's ranked lower than 100, but for people who couldn't make it to the best B schools, it's still like, a tier 2, tier 3 university. It's one of the options. And this is the computer science department. This is the mechanical engineering department. And this is the electrical engineering department of the University of Rhode Island. And this is the chemical engineering department. And this is the civil engineering department. So it is a pretty big campus. So this is the medical school. So the medical school is still quite competitive. It's difficult to get in there. And this is the law school. So places to visit near University of Rhode Island in Kingston: Beavertail Lighthouse and Park, Martha's Vineyard Fast Ferry, Rhode Island Bay Cruises, Fort Adams State Park, Narragansett Beach, and there's the Brenton Point State Park. It's a lot of nice parks and beaches. Cost of living near University of Rhode Island. Monthly rent in Kingston as of the year 2016 for a furnished 1-bed 1-bath apartment, approximately $1,000 to $1,100 per month. Furnished 2-bed 2-bath apartment, approximately $1,600 to $1,700 a month. Indian restaurants near University of Rhode Island. So there's there's Kebab and Curry, Bombay Club, Taste of India. It's kind of close to, it's the same as what we saw in the previous slide, when we were talking about Indian restaurants. Famous alumni from University of Rhode Island: Lamar Odom, basketball player; Christian Amanpour, journalist; Lincoln Armand, former governor of Rhode Island; Cornelius Kerwin, president of American University; and Pat Abruzzi, football player. And Roger Williams University, that's one of the Tier 2 universities. And Roger Williams University's roots originate in 1919, so it's quite old actually, and then they're almost completing 100 years. And when the Northeastern University School of Commerce and Finance opened a branch at the Providence YMCA, that's the Young Men's Christians Association. The next year, Northeastern University School of Law opened a Providence division. Northeastern's presence in Providence grew again in 1938 when the university opened the Providence Technical Institute. So it came from the branching of the Northeastern University. And this is a picture of the Roger Williams University Library. It looks like a nice little building there. And that brings us to the end of this video about studying in Rhode Island. So when you think about Rhode Island, mainly you think of Providence and you think of Brown University. That's one of the most prestigious universities in Rhode Island. Okay, so thank you.